No, go ahead.
And welcome back to the Unfiltered Sports Weekly. I'm the Beeves.
Yeah, I'm Kev.
I got my head up my ass, apparently. What? St. Joe in the house.
We're not saying that you have your head up your ass. We're just saying that what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, it's okay.
That
It's all
said, your buttery, wonderful voice is coming through.
Oh, no. It's okay. It's okay.
Everybody's always like, I feel so good about myself. Oh, I'll change that shit.
Yeah, no, it's all good. You come on this show and, you get kicked right down.
Yeah. That's what we do. We build people up to tear them the fuck down, and then we leave them there so people can hit them in the face.
It's okay.
That said, I'm glad to see you, St. Joe, and I'm glad to see you, Keb.
Yeah,
I feel like a J6 rider that just has ankle breakers cut off.
Now you can walk around your house freely now.
I'm happier than a motherfucker. Get to eat some McDonald's fries and no more prison food. So
and
it's all good.
Hey, you can walk through Washington D.C. without any shame now.
Hey, what? One of the centers is going to give me a tour. So it's all good, man. Bobbitt, what's her name? I don't know.
I wonder if those guys are like banned from the Capitol.
No, they're the one of them. I can't remember her name, but she's giving them a tour. Remember, this is the statue you knocked over.
When you're wearing a buffalo head.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. But
if I were that guy with the buffalo head, I'd go back there for like a tour of the Capitol with that shit on.
Some sort of sign or whatever he was carrying with him. I can't remember what he was carrying.
Yeah.
Tell the other people on the tour. Yeah, I've been here.
Beebs, if you don't do Hitler on Thursday, man, after Elon, dude, you're missing out.
He found his way, I guess.
He's given all his heart. That's for sure.
It wasn't the path we were hoping he would have taken. But
I mean, whatever. But man,
people who pass their time reading Mein Kampf by Hitler. Ohio won last night
convincingly.
Yeah, they did. They you got to give them credit. Got to give them credit where credit is due. They played a good game, and they just they were the better team. They were, and I was hoping Notre Dame would give it more of a run, but they tried to give a little bit of a comeback. But apparently God was not on their side.
Ooh, you want to know why?
Because he was Ohio State's.
You want to know why? It finally fucking caught up to him. He was waiting until Notre Dame was in the national championship. Last two times they were in the national championship, got a fucking ass kicked. So it would all be solved if they would just let the priests marry people.
Boy!
But
well, it just it didn't happen. It just I thought it would be more of a game, but I mean that 9-minute drive and 18-play drive that started off was good, but you're not going to sustain doing that.
All right. Well, okay. Let's go through the teams that Ohio State beat.
Tennessee.
So Tennessee.
Yeah.
Texas.
Who else did they beat?
Oregon.
And then, I saw a picture. I saw a picture online. Obviously, AI where Brutus was sitting down and he had a duck, a piece of steak, and Lucky Charms at the table. And I'm like, that's pretty funny. But
I gotta tell you, their run through the playoffs was historic.
Now it's been, you know what? My son asked me this question, and it's not hard. I had to think about it, but can you name off the top of your head, without looking at Google, Beebs? Can you name all 12 teams that were in the playoff?
Oh, I can probably get there. Yeah. Do you want me to put them in order though? Because that might not.
No. Just I got there because I like visualized the bracket in my head.
Georgia, Boise State. Well, number 2 was.
Number 2 was Georgia. Number 1 was Oregon.
Number 1 was Oregon. So Oregon, Georgia, Boise State. Number 4 was. Or was number 4 Boise State? Number 5 was Arizona State. Number 3 was.
I believe number 5 was Texas.
Yeah, number 5 was Texas.
Yeah,
you're right.
5 was Texas.
6 was Penn State. 7 was Tennessee.
You're missing number 4 with Arizona State.
I already mentioned them though.
But you said
it's all right.
Number 5, yeah.
I might have skipped over them. So Penn State, Tennessee, Ohio State was 8. Number 9 was.
Am I getting them back? I believe Tennessee was number 9.
Tennessee was 9. They played 8. Ohio State.
8, 9, yeah.
So who was number 7?
Notre Dame.
That's right.
Yeah.
So and then number 10 was 10, 11, 12. Those are the ones where I'm going to miss them.
This is the way that I remember it. Clemson played Texas.
Yep, Clemson. Yep.
Okay.
Clemson, Texas.
Yeah, Ohio State played Tennessee.
Sorry, the other team from SMU.
Penn State played SMU.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bottom there, Notre Dame played Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana would have been the one I forgot.
Indiana would have been.
It's because they just shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
They shouldn't have been there. I know they only lost one game, but boy, they were bad. But yeah, no, the run that Ohio State had, I mean, if they wanted to win the title, they were going to have to go through that gauntlet. I mean, they beat Oregon, who was the number 1 team undefeated. They beat, Tennessee. We thought that was going to be a tough game, but didn't they just thrash Tennessee?
Yeah,
I don't know about define killing somebody. Killing
Did they
somebody
lose by 3 touchdowns?
No, it wasn't 3 touchdowns. I think it was by 14 or 15.
Yeah. I mean,
by normal standards, Ohio State did not kill Notre Dame. They won convincingly.
They were ahead 31-7 at one point, and then they kind of went on cruise control after that. So I want to bring something up. Last week, Kev mentioned something that I think needs to be repeated, just so we remember that he said this thing.
What, that Ohio State kicks puppies?
No. You said something about Will Howard.
Yeah, he still sucks. He's not good.
I mean, he broke the record for most completions in a row last night. He broke the record for several things during the game last night. I mean, I think he's a pretty good quarterback.
I don't agree. I don't think he's a good quarterback.
That's fine if you're going to call me out on being wrong, because every one of you motherfuckers, and I can roll back the goddamn tape, are going to bow down to me when we start talking about the Washington Commanders.
We're not getting there yet. But Howard. I don't think Howard's a good quarterback either.
No, he just fucking sucks. He's gonna play for fucking that European team that fucking Jack Del Rio is fucking coaching now out in Paris. That's where fucking Will what's his name? Will what?
Howard.
Yeah, he's an insignificant human being. He goes to Ohio State.
Is he a senior?
Yeah. Do you want to know his stats for the year?
Is he gonna declare?
He was the number 1 for QBR.
Here we go
in
the
entire
stats
country.
Thing again.
He had 4,000 yards. He threw 35 touchdowns. I mean,
okay. Where is he going to get drafted?
He's probably not going to. I think he's got another year of eligibility. I bet somebody pays him a little bit of money. You think he hops in the transfer portal again?
Yeah, maybe he'll go to Wisconsin.
Yeah, or he might stay there. I mean, I don't. My point is, I didn't think he was. I thought he was the best player in the game. Man, I think he won the game for him last night, and that was the national title game. I think he's more than just okay.
Well, I mean, for that game, maybe, but I mean, I
threw
just
for over 4,000 yards on the season, 35 touchdowns, and he has the best QBR rating in the country.
What did Shadir Sanders do?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
Shadir, whatever.
I don't know if I know how to spell his name. There it is. Shadir Sanders stats. His will probably be otherworldly because he's in the Big 12. Oh, he ran 4,000. Yeah, 4,000. The same stats. His QBR's a little bit less. Well, 10 points less. Sorry, 13, 14 points less.
Okay. And
much worse team. I'll say that though.
So, but in all rights, he's going to come out and potentially be. I mean, Travis Hunter should be the number one pick, but he'll be the number one quarterback pick.
I'm gonna laugh when Will Campbell's the number one pick.
Will Campbell, who's he play for?
LSU, right? Or maybe not. Michigan, maybe.
Defensive player? Is this
offensive line?
So, I mean, it could be, but I'm just saying is that he's going to be the number one quarterback, and we'll see who goes out where he goes because he's only going to be allowed to go to so many teams. But
and there's only so many teams looking for quarterbacks this year.
True, but
so that's another thing that plays into it. I mean, last year was a huge quarterback year, and a bunch of them panned out. So, not everybody's looking for a quarterback.
So same
offensive tackle for LSU.
Okay.
So same question. Then if you take away Howard out of that game last night, does Ohio State win the game?
No.
So, I mean,
they don't make it to the final. They don't make the playoffs.
Playoffs. I mean, I get it. Good player, right? Good player, but I mean, good quarterback, sure. I mean, he throws the ball. He can throw the ball. That pass he threw it to whatever the guy that caught
pass at the end of the game was really good. But.
Yeah, the guy caught one pass and it sealed it for him. But I mean, good player. Good. He runs the ball a lot. He does. He's 6'3", 240 pounds, whatever it is. I mean, he's a big kid. He, has all the potential to be.
The reason I bring him up is he was a great quarterback last year. Do you guys know who he played for last year?
No one really cares.
No, because he played for an irrelevant team, but he played for Kansas State and he was really good last year.
So why do you think he went to Ohio State?
Money
from Kansas State.
Money.
Why?
Money or a chance to play for a national title. I mean, that would be kind of shiny.
So, yeah, I mean, it worked.
It did.
It worked.
I wouldn't mind him being on my team in Oklahoma. But
yeah, I mean, it definitely worked out for him. But I just.
Are you saying you wouldn't want him in Wisconsin?
Sure. I mean, sure. I'll take him in Wisconsin. But I mean, I just don't think he's the same player on that team. So
no, I mean the running backs on Ohio State are next level. So I see
mean,
it.
It fit the scheme. It fit everything that happened. It was the kind of the perfect storm. But, yeah, I mean, no, good for him. Good for Jason Day that he finally all the talk is going to stop about Jason Day to say
Ryan Day. Jason Day is a golfer.
Sorry.
Ryan Day. Jason Day is from Australia.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time. Ryan Day. I do it all the time when I talk about it. It's because I just don't care about Ohio State. But yeah. Good for him. All the talk will stop about it. He can't win the big game. He can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Well, he can. He proved them. So good. Good for them.
I would say Notre Dame had a pretty damn good season too. I don't want to I know they lost last night. Didn't have the greatest game. They kind of turned it on in the second half, and we're doing a lot better kind of towards the end of the game. They didn't get blown out. I thought it was going to be a bad blowout once it got to be 31-7, but they kind of turned it on. But I really like their quarterback. I don't think he's going to be an NFL player, but I like Notre Dame's quarterback, and their coach seems to know what he's doing. But it was clear that the other team had better athletes and a better scheme. You could see that. Those were probably the two best teams in that game, though.
It did a lot for Notre Dame. It makes good recruiting, does a lot of things for that. So Freeman's going to do fine. So there's no way that their quarterback's going anywhere beyond college. There's no way.
No.
So
he runs the ball way too much, and he's athletic, but he's not athletic enough.
No.
So he could go play in the UFL.
Maybe.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's not going anywhere. No. But
but I like him. He's a gamer. I like him.
Sure. Good leader, good everything. But I just don't see him going anywhere beyond college football, which is fine.
I'd say he's been their best quarterback in a while, though.
Yeah, like we talked about that last week, that there wasn't any other big names that are going to do that, but maybe that helps him recruit somebody. Who knows? But
all right. Well, here's a controversy. Surely someone will get upset about this. I don't know if I will or not. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but the talk is that the SEC is now not the conference because of their performance in the playoffs and in the bowl season.
Okay, the Big Ten won one more game than the SEC did. There are two more games than the SEC did. So they have one good team. Texas was in the semifinal. So whoever's saying that just clearly doesn't watch college football.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
they won one more game than the SEC in the entire playoff.
No,
or what?
Okay, so if you want to say Ohio State won the playoff, that's a Big Ten team, right? I mean, the SEC had a team in the semis.
They did.
So
the Big Ten had two teams, and so did. I mean, you have Notre Dame.
Which is non-conference. I would like to see the Big Ten go through the regular season schedule of an SEC team. Because it's Ohio State and Penn State every week.
But I mean the argument was, the SEC is going to win because of the way that they play their schedule during the regular season. But I mean,
what we're also finding is that and you can't really say it about Ohio State. They did have a gauntlet, but Notre Dame had a easy draw.
I mean, they had to beat Georgia.
Georgia with a backup quarterback, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. They played Indiana.
Yeah, that was a nice draw, wasn't it?
So I mean, they're had they had to play Texas, to begin with.
Yeah,
in Austin.
Yeah,
you might be.
I still think Texas should have lost to Arizona State personally, but that's neither here nor there because they ended up winning the game. So
it just goes to prove there's still some work to do on this playoffs. Is that it should have had the reseeding, it should have had a lot of different things. So I think there's just some work to do, and they're going to figure it out.
How do you seed them? That's my question.
That's what they're going to have to figure out. They're going to have to figure out if they do the reseeding, what it goes on, what it's, strength of schedule, what does it go on?
I think you use the old BCS formula to seed them.
I think that would be great if they did that.
But you say, okay, these are the 4 or 12 or 14 teams that are in, or whatever the number's going to be, and then once they're in, you rank them via the BCS system. So
I think the college football playoff has a top 25, and it starts in week 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think they take that, rank them by the BCS, every week. That way, when you get down to 12, at the end of the year, when you get down to 12, then you have your 12. The thing is.
So you're saying no conference champions?
Yeah, but what they should, but you could have a 9 seed be the conference champion of the Big East, or something like that. I think they need to take that away, and just the top 4 seeds, whether you're conference champion or not, the top 4 seeds get the bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
And winning a conference championship of the 5 conferences doesn't necessarily get you a bye, but it does get you an automatic bid in.
Yeah.
Just like a basketball tournament.
Yeah, I can see that. I think they just have some things they got to work out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's better than it was. I mean, certainly you didn't have because if this would have happened last year, FSU would have got in. Sure, they might have gotten their ass kicked, but they would have got in, and you wouldn't have had the upheaval that you did. But yeah, I don't think it was much better than the 4-game playoff, other than the fact that it extended the college football season, by 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not really sure it needed to be extended that long, but I mean, that's where we're at.
And why can't we play that fucking game on Saturday? Why does it have to be on a fucking Monday night?
They can move the NFL playoffs to a Monday night, and that I mean, it bugs the crap out of me.
Why can't we play the Super Bowl on Saturday, like the one day before? Why do we have to play it on Sunday and then everybody calls in on Monday?
Right?
I don't get it.
Well, all that said, it was a good football season. I think lots of good games and fun to watch. I didn't really like the teams that made it into the final. I don't think those teams would have been there under the old system. I think the new system tells us a little bit about the old system. I mean, those teams wouldn't have been in it at all, and they won. One of them won the national title. Notre Dame might have been there, I guess, with one loss, but I don't see. I mean, I did not see Notre Dame going into all the way to the national title game. I didn't see that coming. I thought they were going to get slaughtered by Georgia, even with the backup quarterback. So, that was an interesting. It's an interesting showing. It kind of shows you that, the ranking system and that whole the way everything was set up prior is maybe not the teller of who the best football team is.
Agreed.
So, anyway, we should move on to because I know the Bears. The Bears.
Yeah, very excited about that.
Right?
Yep, Ben Johnson, very excited. This first day in Hallis Hall was today. Came in all pumped up. He was, he said it's where he wanted to go. I mean, what else is he going to say? Of course, but yeah, I think that was a very good hire. I mean, they need somebody. I think that was probably the top choice, and they did a good job. So it'll be interesting to see. He's familiar with the NFC, the NFC North, which I like. Knows the teams. They got to do something in that division. So I like it. I like to. He's definitely an offensive-minded coach. I think that they have a good offensive base to work with, and I think with his name, he could attract some people too to come in. So, it all now depends on the coaching staff and everybody that he puts around him. So, we'll see. But I think that he can do something with Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams, that rookie class last year had some good players in it. And despite, I don't think he had a good year. I think he could have had a much better year.
He needed a better coach.
I won't say bust as much as I thought he was going to be. He did do good. So there's some hope. There's some hope there. So we'll see. But yeah, it's exciting. It'll be interesting to see who he puts around him and how it turns out. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Hey, didn't they lose like 8 games in a row?
Oh, but they only lost them by less than a touchdown, right? So they could have gone either way.
Oh, I
know.
could make the same argument for the Jags.
Of course you can. Sure.
But you don't see me over here making fucking excuses.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Did they lose 8 games in a row? Yes or no?
Yeah. They lost 8 games in a row. Yeah.
But they had good players.
Yeah. They have good players.
They had rookies and bad coaches.
Yeah, they have good players. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like the Jags.
The Jags have good players. Best player is Logan Cook. Do you know what position he plays?
Not Brian Thomas Jr.
No, it's Logan Cook. Logan Cook is one of 2 guys that made the Pro Bowl.
Is he the long snapper?
He's the fucking punter.
That's not good.
And the second guy who made the Pro Bowl is the long snapper. Asshole.
Yeah. So
let me ask you this: did Caleb Williams make the Pro Bowl?
He did not. No.
Okay. Did DJ Moore?
No.
No DJ Moore, who is probably the best player on offense.
For them, I mean, Roma Dunze didn't do bad. Cole Kmet is a decent tight end. DJ Moore.
I hate people who call him Kimmett.
Is probably their primary, target for sure. Their best player on offense is probably Cairo Santos.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's on the field more than anybody that would, any scores. He probably scored the most points for them this year.
Well,
which wasn't a lot.
I wasn't comparing the Bears to the Jags. The Bears beat the Jags, which I mean, lately that's a fucking something to write home about.
Yeah, I mean,
but even in that game, Caleb Williams figured out how to throw it to the other team.
Yeah. I mean, but that, I mean,
yeah. But then what do you know? I mean, Ben Johnson, the Messiah, Ben Johnson, that every team wanted. He just orchestrated a game where Jared Goff threw 5 fucking interceptions.
Yeah, I mean that's the style of football that Detroit plays. I mean, is he going to do that every game? No, I don't think he's going to do that every game.
Well, he picked a really fucking good time to do it.
He did. It wasn't the greatest game for Goff, that's for sure. But I don't know if that's going to be his style of offense that he's going to have the entire time. But hey, I would take 15 and 2. Yeah. If the Bears went 15-2 next year and made it to the number 1 seed and lost in the whatever round you called it, divisional round or whatever, that would be a giant win. I'd take that.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody who wouldn't.
Yeah, that would be a hell of a turnaround.
Maybe Jared Goff didn't need to be throwing the ball all over the field like he would.
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 really good running backs. They got that Montgomery, who's pretty stout on third down. You got that other dude, his name escapes me right now, who's fast as fuck.
Yeah, Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs, who's fast as fuck. So I didn't know, why are you throwing the ball? And they're doing all this fucking reverse shit. And then that was a smooth play where they did the jet sweep, and the jet sweep pitched the ball up the middle.
That was kind of cool. That was a cool.
Yeah, that was a pretty smooth play. And I mean, I don't know how many times I got to say it. I don't know. I mean, I say it every year. Don't bet against the hot team, and they ran into the hot team.
Yeah. I mean,
who are they playing next week?
Who? The Commanders?
Eagles.
They're playing the Eagles.
That'd be a good
in
game.
Philly.
Yeah.
In Philly.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Philly.
Weather's going to be
they've already
shitty.
Played twice. They've already played twice this year.
Yeah, they know them, and it'll be interesting. That game will be very, very interesting, and I could see Washington easily. I could see them winning that game. They know their opponent, so I wouldn't count
Jalen
out Washington.
Hurts is injured, isn't he?
He's been injured. Concussions. He's had a concussion. He's not
sprained his
injured
ankle really
now,
bad.
but yeah,
high ankle sprain.
Yeah,
I heard his finger hurts.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
something's always wrong with that dude. That dude doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he runs the ball a lot for a quarterback.
But they have Saquon Barkley. They'll just run it to death. And
just put Kenny Pickett in there. They'll hand him to Saquon. Saquon will jump over fucking people.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you this: if all things are being equal about that game, if all things are equal on the field, Dan Quinn will outcoach Nick Sirianni. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, Dan Quinn has this big thing hanging over him when he was the Atlanta Falcons head coach that he had a big ass lead on the New England Patriots and lost. You know, so he knows how to coach the big game. Nick Sirianni likes to argue with his fans, you know, and prove that he's right all the time. And the Philadelphia Eagles, or just the city of Philadelphia, have the worst fans. I don't know if I said this before. Stop me if you heard this before, but have the worst fans ever. They are members of, I don't know if I should say this, but there's just a reason that they call it the city of brotherly love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Keb.
It's
I just
it's not good.
The video of the Philly fan with the Packer fan. I mean, that's just one of many. You know, they burn when they win anything. You know, Flyers, Phillies, Eagles, Sixers. They're burning down the fucking city. You know, they're burning couches, through the windows of City Hall. You know, they're just not nice fucking people. They all need to fuck off.
It's not good.
The original founder of Pennsylvania would be rolling over in his grave.
Who, William Penn?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Quaker.
That's a fucking problem right there.
Well, it is, but yeah, we'll see where else some people. So what is the infatuation that the Jags have with Robert Saleh?
I don't think it's an infatuation. I think if you had, he's a good defensive mind. I think him and Trent Baalke are buddies. You know, I don't think it. I think now that Ben Johnson's gone, I think that the focus has been turned to Liam Cohen. You know, who is the offensive coordinator of Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the guy who basically revitalized Baker Mayfield. Also, I mean, can you tell me who the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back is?
Yeah. Give me a second. Bucky Irving.
Right. No one has ever heard of Bucky Irving before this year, yet he had 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
You know, so he knows how to call plays. If they had, any type of defense, granted they play. Look, man, the Jaguars are an attractive job, and I'll tell you why. You have, outside of having, Trevor Lawrence, who's a serviceable quarterback. You have a state that you don't have to pay state taxes in.
Sure.
Okay. The weather outside of today is relatively good. It's hot here, but whatever. Also, you have the number 5 pick. Okay. We have 3 extra draft picks this year. And sorry, I lost my train of thought, but you have 3 extra draft picks this year. And you have salary cap room, for free agents and stuff. So that's an attractive job. The unattractive part is that you got to deal with Trent Baalke, which why he's not fired is beyond me. I think you have an owner that is so hands off that he's just like, okay, Trent knows football. This guy got run out of San Francisco after he ran out Jim Harbaugh out of San Francisco. Got run out of San Francisco. San Francisco went and got a former player to be their GM, which everybody thought they were fucking nuts at the time. Yeah. They were in the Super Bowl. What the fuck is that? They were in the Super Bowl last year. And I just think, So I do not. If Robert Saleh is the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars this time next year, we're going to be in the same boat. And in 3 years, we're going to be looking for another head coach. He's not the answer.
Interesting.
No, we know he's not the answer.
Yeah, my point is though that I don't think Shad Khan gives a fuck.
He's just going to keep spending money.
I think win or lose in the NFL, the money still rolls in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And as much as, frustrated fans are going to say, oh, I'm not going to go to the games. I'm not going to buy tickets. All right. Okay.
You're going to go.
Yeah, you're going to go.
You're going to go.
Why are you going to go? Because it's fun. You're telling me that if the Chiefs come through here, you're not going to go. Right. Yeah.
You're going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just my thought.
Well, on top of that, even if they didn't go, Shad Khan would still make money.
Yeah.
Because of the way everything's structured with the NFL.
Yeah, you got big ass TV deal.
Right. And you're not really, even if you lose, you're not, when it comes to revenue, you're not really harmed as much as you would be, I guess, in other styles, I guess, of pro sports. So, I mean, there's no real incentive to try. I mean, if you're just an owner who's really hands off and you're only in it for the money, then there's no real incentive to really, put out an exciting product out there, I guess.
And they got rid of blackouts,
Yeah. So you're always on a TV somewhere, right?
Sure.
So I mean, like, there's not really an incentive. See, this is where I think professional sports in the United States has got everything figured out. Is like we don't even have to put out a good product to get paid.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So that's why you have bottom dwelling teams. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, how bad were they for so long? You know what I mean? Before John Gruden won Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, how bad? I mean, they were bad for a long time.
They were very bad.
I mean, 30 years.
Tony Dungy had him on the right track, though.
That's true.
Yeah, yep. Tony Dungy had him on the right track, and let's not forget when he went to Indy, he won a Super Bowl up there. I mean, it's not hard to do that when you get Peyton Manning, but he had Tampa Bay on the right track.
Yeah. We may have just lost Keb.
We might have. Keb looks a little frozen right now.
I'm going to guess he'll be back though. But I think the NFL has its revenue sharing figured out to where nobody really gets. I mean, once you've bought your way into the club, you're kind of there for as long as you want to be. That's what I'm starting to see.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But other coaching jobs, I don't know where.
Shoot,
yeah, there's a few out there, but we're gonna see where I think the big chips are gonna fall.
They haven't fallen yet. I mean,
Vrabel was one of them, and then obviously the Bears was another one. Dallas, we're gonna see what happens with Dallas. That's a big one.
Yeah, but I mean, who's out there that they can hire?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think it's going to be Dion? I mean, it could be Dion, but
it could be Dion. But it would take
a lot of money.
It would
take a lot of money, and two, you'd have to be okay with losing for a season, probably, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's that big of a deal.
I mean, we just talked about how it really wasn't that big of a deal. You can lose in the NFL and still make a ton of money. The Cowboys are going to make a ton of money no matter what.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that big of a deal. They're like the richest, richest team in the world.
But really, if they hired Dion, they'd probably make more money because they hired him, right?
Yeah.
Even if they didn't win.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's a college coach that's really the big ticket right now.
I mean, Ryan Day was the name.
Yeah, but he's not leaving Ohio State now after winning that championship. There's no way.
No, I don't think he's going anywhere.
No.
But I don't know. The guy they just had, what's his name? Where's he going? I mean, surely he's going to go somewhere. Coach Dallas just had, what's his name?
McCarthy. Yeah,
That's it,
McCarthy will
McCarthy.
end up, and Peterson will end up somewhere too. So,
yeah,
I mean,
I think Peterson would probably be okay in Dallas, quite honestly.
yeah, I mean, I think McCarthy will end up. Who knows? I mean,
shoot, Dak Prescott. I mean, is he out? Is he out the door?
I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. So I think there could be some. Maybe the Jets is an interesting one where that's going to land too.
Yeah.
So, boy, could you imagine McCarthy going to the Jets and re-hooking up with Aaron Rodgers? That would be interesting. That could be an interesting connection. And then re-hooking up with Devontae Adams and Rodgers. That could be an interesting play
You think
right
Rodgers
there.
stays, man? You think Rodgers stays in New York?
I don't think he stays, but that might be an interesting thing. If McCarthy comes in,
yeah,
that would be interesting. But
well, according to Kev, he just sent us a text. Power is out in the forest.
Oh boy, the ice storm is hitting.
That is not
the storm is hitting right now.
Well, no, it's not even. Is it cold enough where you're at?
It's windy is what's happening. It's pretty windy right now. Yeah. And but yeah, the ice storm is already starting to hit, and that's not good.
And what I was trying to, I actually talked to Kev earlier today. You know, having lived in a bunch of all the different zones in the United States now, that I would say the scariest conditions I've ever been in were in Oklahoma, and it wasn't because it was like really cold or there was tons of snow or anything. No, it was the ice.
Oh man, ice is crazy, and people around here. Can you even imagine the intercoastal or the Dames Point or anything like that with ice on it? People they won't even know. I told Elijah that if he wakes up and it literally does snow, just go back to bed because you're not getting on the bus with ice.
And that's exactly what they said in our school district was we've got kids where we can't guarantee their safety. If we can't guarantee their safety when we're picking them up, we're not going to run the buses. So
the kids in like Kev says, in high society, can you imagine the lawsuits that would come out?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And if anything happens and that bus would go in a ditch or anybody would get hurt.
Or ended up on a bridge somewhere. I mean,
are you kidding me? I mean, like, just go back to bed. And and then they're going to say that that's an unexcused absence.
Fine.
Whatever, dude. I mean, like, go back to bed. Stay warm. I can guarantee nobody's leaving their house tomorrow if it's going to be 26 degrees here.
Watching people in Oklahoma who they deal with it, 2 or 3 times a year, right? But if there's ice on the road, they just simply cannot. You grew up in Wisconsin, so you kind of.
Dude, did you see what I sent you?
Yeah.
There's parts of Wisconsin right now with the wind chill. It's -50.
Yep.
I mean, I'm like, the coldest day that I ever remember, and the only reason I remember this is it was -70, 73 with the wind chill.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bone chilling.
Do not go outside.
I drove. I lived like 2 blocks, maybe 3 blocks away from where I worked. But I drove. I usually walked through the woods to get to work.
There's no way you're walking in that.
And I drove because I knew it was going to be so bitter. I am dressed up, and I drove a beer truck. And so what we did is we kept the beer truck running. It's on diesel, right? And we kept it running with heaters so the cans don't explode.
Right.
So it's crazy. And we had to keep the truck running because if you turn a diesel engine off, it freezes.
Yeah.
So we would go do our delivery, do whatever. And I mean, we should have even been out on the road and driving a, 16-wheeler on icy. It's complete black ice doing everything. Well, so I'm driving home and I turn out and it is just sheer black ice. And this dumb idiot teenager is coming down in a 78 Bronco, which is a tank, and just plows right into me. So just T-bones me, and it's 70 some below. And I'm like,
what do you do?
Are you kidding me?
If your vehicles are incapacitated, you know what I mean? You're stuck in.
He's got a tank. He hits me, and it's like a freaking icicle. I mean, you just hear crinkle, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. So I called. You have to call the cops.
Yeah, they
you
don't.
know,
They don't. They're
and
not.
I mean, he comes out and he goes, "This is the night you picked to get hit," and I'm like, I'm like,
not the one that
yeah.
hit me,
I
dude.
mean, what do you want me to do? And he goes, well, let's just all call it, let's just all go home, leave your truck here. I'll drive you home. And I'm like, dude, I said, I live right around here. And the thing with a small town is I know the police officer, I'm like, Jim. I'm like, Jim, really? And he goes, well, let's just deal with it tomorrow. It's going to be warmer. And I'm like, you got to do a report, I'm like, and he goes, I'll get it to, and he did, he got it taken care of. And he says, there's no reason to be out here and talk about it and do this and I'm like, all right, whatever. And I mean, my truck is just smashed and the bumper's hanging, and he looks at his and he's got like a scratch in the bumper. I'm like, this is just ridiculous, but whatever, but,
no, but I'd say we had a little bit of that in Wyoming, not a lot of it. But sometimes the wind chill would be, minus 50, minus 60.
Yeah, it's just insane.
And they would cancel school just because it was not because there was a ton of snow, but because it was windy, and if kids out there for more than 20 minutes, they could die. But like my scariest moments weren't even in Wyoming. They were in Oklahoma when it froze, like when it rained, then turned into snow.
Yeah,
because then the streets would be just ice, and those people, you grow up on it, how to deal with it, how to drive on it. But those people, they didn't grow up on it, and they don't know how to deal with it.
And nobody around here has grown up on it. I mean, I would have no problem driving.
The scariest thing I've ever seen on ice is brake lights, because you don't hit your brakes on the ice, you just can't do it.
No,
so you slow down. You just take your foot off the pedal.
But see, I'm the guy that's driving 40 on the highway at nice, because I can, I got no problem. I'm like driving around in the rain here. I'm past the people I'm doing because I know I can do it.
Right.
But like, I'm used to it. But people around here, they just don't know how to drive. They got their flashers on, they got everything, and I'm just like, you idiot. But
I scared the crap out of my wife's father, because we had gone to a football game and flown back, and we're driving in Wyoming, and it was like the first snow of the year, and it's in the dark, and it's snowing, and it's starting to accumulate a little bit. So I'm going, but we're on I-90 and we're the only ones on the road. So I'm still going 70.
Yeah.
And he's like white as a ghost.
He's grabbing the handle.
Right. He's like, I'm freaking out, right? I was like, yeah, but here's the deal. If I'm not scared and I'm driving, I've done this my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I've driven in snow. I was like, no. You've driven in snow like once a year for 20 years. I've driven in snow for 6 months every year of my life. So it's not quite the same. So I'm comfortable, but he's squirming in his seat. Yeah. But no, like that's the thing is like, so we're gonna see a little bit of that, I think, tomorrow. It sounds
maybe
weird to me. Like he's like, we could see 3 inches of snow tomorrow. I was like, that seems
that's
like
what
a
the
lot.
guy said. I think in Georgia, it's gonna snow. I mean, it's gonna be cold and it's gonna be up there. And I mean, we might get a dusting. But hey,
my kids, they're like, I want to see snow.
Yeah, they're excited.
They grew up with it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, think about it. The first time in like 35 years it could actually snow. I mean, it would be amazing to say we were here the last time it snowed in Jacksonville. That's crazy,
right?
Like Kev was saying, he slid down the hill and he did things, and it's like that's insane. I can't even imagine that. But, yeah, man.
So, like, as far as the Jags are concerned, since we're talking Jacksonville, I don't see who they're going to hire, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tough.
If they're going to hire Robert Saleh, I'm like, dude, you can't. That's.
I don't think that's a good hire. I mean, he failed miserably in New York, and I just don't see him as a good coach. As a coordinator, maybe.
Yeah,
but not as a head coach. I do not think he did well.
It feels like the Jags we're just going to reboot it with the same. We're going to have different coaches, but we got the same general manager, and boy, we can really trust him. with a draft. Kev's like, we got extra picks this year, and we're like, yeah, but we have the same general manager. So what difference? I mean, it's just going to be the same ridiculous stuff. I mean, like,
I agree.
We had good picks last year. Did any of them pan out?
No.
No.
Well, Brian Thomas Jr. did,
Yes,
for sure. But I mean, that was the one bright spot. But I mean, yeah, it's going to take a while for the Jags to be good, and I think everybody knows that. But I mean, it's hard, man. I mean, trust me, I know.
You know what's hard? This last year, I have not rooted for a team in 5 years that's been good. Not college.
Yeah, I mean,
not college, not professional sports, not even soccer. I haven't rooted for a team that's been anywhere near top of the league.
Man, I mean, I've been a Bears fan for so long, so I know it's hard. It's hard. But I mean, 2018 was the last time they were they were anywhere near good. And yeah, that was, I mean, Rex Grossman took them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was crazy. And yeah, so it's been a long haul. But
like the tables are going to turn at some point when it comes to these.
They always do. So it's always been that the Bears have been really good and the Packers have been horrible. And they've never really been good at the same time. And right now, there's 3 good teams in that division. I mean, Packers, Vikings, and Detroit are solid teams. I mean, I would love for the Bears to be up there and compete with them, but they're just not. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It could change. It could change in a heartbeat. And so look at Denver. Denver, which everybody thought was just going to be horrible, and now they turned.
They got a good coach, and they got a good quarterback, and all of a sudden everything looks a little bit different, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
They turned it around pretty quick. So we'll see. And
the right coach can change a lot of things, but he's got to be willing to work with a general manager.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the Red Sox. The Red Sox have been terrible for a long time now.
Yeah.
What happened there? Same ownership. What's going on? So,
man, speaking of baseball, man, how about Bob?
Oh man,
Euchre.
That's too bad. Bob Euchre
dying, man. Away, yeah. I mean, one of the great voices of baseball.
His rants in the Major League Series was.
Oh man. I mean, it was so, the whole just a bit outside. Just, I mean, everybody quotes that. And, even in a little league game, you'll be sitting there and the kid does it, and you're like, okay. And, it's just such a tragedy. I mean, everybody has a great life, and he had a great life. And there's a statue of him in the back that you can sit next to, because he's always like, save me a seat, and it's great. But
Bob Euchre he was just a funny guy.
He was. Yeah. He was just a normal, everyday baseball fan, and just great dude. Kind of like the Harry Carey. He was our Harry Carey for the Brewers by far. And man, I grew up just listening to on TV. You'd always hear him and do it, and he was just such a great baseball.
That's a memorable voice right there.
Yeah, for sure. He's the one that if you're like, you heard him on the radio, it's kind of like we have Larry McCarron for the Packers, or is kind of one that you always know, and a couple different names that you're like, okay, and for us is always going to be. But Vin Scully, it's like you get these names where you're like, okay, it's always there. And even Joe Buck,
the voice, Joe
Joe Buck. People don't know. It's Joe Buck, right? He's a junior, isn't he?
Yep.
Is his dad name?
I think it's Joe, right?
I want to say it's Joe. He worked with Tim McCarver. I want to say his dad's name
wasn't he the voice of the Cardinals,
it John?
Right?
Was it John Buck? Or I might have been John. I don't know, one or the other. I know his dad was a big
Joe Buck. Let's look it up. Joe Buck.
I want to say that it was Joe Buck, but Jim Buck, Joe Buck. I know it was
Jack
Buck. There we go. I knew it was Jack Buck. So our Costas, you get these names where you're like, okay, and just crazy. But it was sad to see that came up. And the other one that I remember too, and I met him at his bar in Atlanta, actually. It's funny that Kev's not on here because he might have a story of meeting him too. But do you remember Craig Sager? He was the NBA guy that always wore the goofy suits,
Yes.
like the real colorful suits.
Yes.
And he would interview
Love that
everybody.
guy.
And he died of cancer a few years back. But he was a guy too who just did it. And yeah, but and then the other thing that I've seen, and I think just recently, this would be a great guy for you to you may have done it. I don't know if you did, but Stuart Scott has come up, and
nope, he's on my list though.
Just his birthday, I think, the other day, and it was the commemorative. It had been like 10 years, maybe, I think, something like that, and crazy that came up, but that was just another voice too that you kind of always knew and did. But
you'll never forget Stuart Scott.
Nah, man, and it just he was a good dude. Especially in the sports world, it was just there's just, like you said, a few that you just definitely remember.
All of his little sayings on SportsCenter.
Yeah, and that's what SportsCenter was. Great. Those commercials come up now. Some of the old ones that they still play are just because I've been watching some 30 by 30s, and it's just great. But
I hope they make a 30 for 30 that's on the heyday of SportsCenter, because
maybe.
I don't know about you, but we were tuning in for our favorite.
Oh man.
It wasn't just we're watching it every morning, which we would. It was we're turning it on at certain times so we can get the broadcaster, the guy that we want to hear.
Yeah.
He was one. Stuart Scott was one of them. I mean, we were just all in stitches when he was.
Yeah, you'd say booyah, and everybody would do it, and like Dan Patrick was en fuego, and all these just things that you would always do. And
they got the other guy. There was another guy. Dan Patrick was awesome. Who was the other guy? There was another
Richards. Wasn't it Richards? He was with Dan.
A guy who's
Dan
got
Patrick.
his own podcast right now.
Well, Scott Van Pelt, right?
Yes, but no. Any guy is on.
Rich Eisen.
That's it. Rich Eisen.
He's on. He's great. Dan Patrick. Rich
all those guys
Eisen.
who have moved on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But man, they made those mornings before school and then after school just like they'd be on before you tune into like your big Monday basketball game, and you they basically made you feel at home.
Yeah,
they really did.
Yeah, it was.
So seeing some of these guys start to pass on, Bob Uecker, man.
Yeah, it was crazy, but
you don't get those guys back.
And no, it kind of totally changed the subject a little bit, man. TikTok went away for a day, right? It got banned for a day or maybe 48 hours or whatever. And I was on the cruise, so it didn't really affect me because I was like, okay, whatever. And I got back and I'm like, okay. But before it went away, on my little vacation, which is funny because it was 80 some degrees down there, and now I come back and it's gonna snow. But one of the things, man, that I was watching before I left, and I've played darts before, and I never really, I was good. I was in a bunch of leagues and did everything, but the one I've been watching recently is these steel tip dart tournaments.
Okay.
And it's more like pub darts, like Ted Lasso darts,
Yeah.
And these guys are insane. I mean,
yeah. See the ones in England?
Yeah. And like they've got like nine dart outs, which is crazy. I mean, that's perfect darts, and you're like, it's just. And these guys are perfect dart players because they're just drinking beer and they don't. But the other day I saw one, and I think it's pretty up to date. But it was like a 17-year-old. One did this, and they win these giant trophies, and he do this, and he had a 9 dart, and I'm like, yeah, I love it because it's kind of like cornhole or whatever. Anybody can do it. And I just get up there and you just throw a dart and you're like, okay. But it's
The
not
guys
that
are
easy.
good. They are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like watching bowling, because the professional
It is
bowlers are
kind of
so
watching
good.
it.
They can all bowl 300 at any given moment,
It
And so
is
these guys who are throwing darts, it's like, how many of those are you going to put right where you want them to go?
Yeah,
You know what I
you're
mean?
going
Like,
up and getting triple 20, triple 19, triple whatever, and you're going in there and you're like, okay, and you're like, they're just like dink, 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 and you're like, and they're not like slow, they're just like,
what's
it's
funny
crazy.
about that is, and I don't know if they have to keep a certain tempo. Like, is there a time frame they got to do it in?
I don't think there's a shot clock or anything, but
it's crazy when you're watching them and they miss one and they realize, oh, I gotta get a 1, a 5,
yeah,
and a 7,
yeah,
and they get
yeah,
all of them, and you're like,
yeah,
how the
yeah,
hell are
and
these
it's
guys
just,
doing that?
yeah, it is. It's just, I mean, they're throwing 100. It's like muscle memory for them, but it's just, and they're so close sometimes to miss it. You're like, oh my God. And you don't think it would be like exciting to watch. You're like, oh, it's darts, but it is. You're fascinated with it. You're like, okay. And it's,
I gotta say that,
yeah.
And Ted Lasso.
Yeah, that one scene where he oh, I forgot I was left-handed.
Oh.
And he does that whole speech where he's talking about that quote about Walt Whitman. That's a great scene. I love that.
Fills you with all sorts of questions you think you should probably ask before you start playing darts with people.
Yeah.
Like, have you played darts before, Ted?
Yep. Where I would have answered every day in the sports pub till I was 16. And he's like, all that. And he's just
with
like,
my dad. Yeah.
Yep. And he's like, and then he goes, barbecue sauce. It's just so funny. I just love, it's just such a good scene. And it's just, oh man. It's so funny to see. I love stuff like that where he's like, okay. And yeah,
they're coming back for another season on that show, right?
They are. That's what I hear is they're coming back.
Which I don't know how you write that back in after. But I won't ruin the show for anybody if they haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. There's a couple shows that are coming out, which I'm looking forward. Suits LA is coming out, and we're gonna see how that comes.
Did you watch the second Squid Games?
I didn't. My kid did and said it was pretty good, but
it's on the queue right now.
Yeah, I got a couple things that I need to catch up with. But I mean, I've been busy, which is, I mean, it's a good thing, but it's been busy. We just did this thing, which was crazy and a blast. So I got a little bit of time now, but I just been swamped. So it's good. It's good. But well, Stupid History Minute has been doing, if you're not listening to that, that's been fantastic with all the guest hosts. I'm loving it. That's great. What about Finding Your Way? What's coming up there?
We got an underdog story this week.
Underdog.
One that it's funny because I knew the story, those there's these sports stories, but you forget about, and then you're scrolling Facebook and then you see the memory. And so that's me this week. There's a really good story that I wanted to share with people that I had meant to, and I just completely put it to the side for a while. So I recorded that already, and it's coming out on Thursday. Pretty excited about it. When you go to record your stuff, like especially when you're by yourself, it just doesn't come like when you do it. It sounds fine. It sounds good. So it sounds professionally edited, but there's just not that emotion that you thought there would be sometimes. But I suppose that's okay.
Yeah, no. You get one. I'll tell you the name, and you know who I'm talking about. Is the Hoyt? I think his name is Bill Hoyt. Maybe you'd have to look it up. But he's the guy that did one that was about the marathoner Ironman guy that did his his brother.
Yeah,
these guys designed the wheelchair. Hoyt.
That's cool.
It's the Hoyt wheelchairs that people use for those races. If you look up Hoyt, it was the dad that did his son. and he did the same thing. He would run, I don't know how many marathons he raced, but he did it. And there's a statue and everything. And he died a few years back, but it was the same thing about just running these marathons for his son. It's the craziest thing. It was amazing. And what a tribute to do things like that. It's just great. But they had an amazing story. But yeah. I think I got Mrs. What is today? She thinks she's up next week. Mrs. St. Joe's coming out with her stupid history minute coming up.
Yeah.
And then
there might be a special appearance from the Little Beeb.
Little Beeb is doing one. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
So I can't remember. He has some goofy one this time too. Like he had a good one last time. I think it was
Cheetos or something.
Spicy Cheetos.
Yeah.
This time I think it's something I'm a little more mundane, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's good. She's did I say what she was doing? She's doing the Boston Marathon, which is cool. That's good for her. So
yeah.
And then I got mine this last nailed it, did really well. Plastic surgery trends. That was pretty interesting. So that was a fun one. And then I'm hoping to have another guest on this week if I can set it up and arrange it. So that'll be good. I actually got a couple people that called me off of this episode to see if they want to be on. So hopefully I can set that up. So that'll be good. And then trends on travel trends for Show Me Your Trips are still going strong.
Yeah, and actually your supper party or your supper club, that was a good one. Yeah,
it was like just different places to go and experiment. Like you can go. There's a couple places you can eat underwater, which is crazy. You can go, a couple miles down underneath the sea, and you get sharks and everything swimming over you, and you can eat. And how cool would that be, right? So just total immersive places, and you'd never know. And how cool is that? So kind of neat, but so check out that. But anything else?
Not that I can think of. We're gonna have to think of something to name this thing, but we'll figure it out without the Keb.
We'll figure it out. Shoot it over to him, but yeah.
Yeah, so if you're out there listening to this, prayers for us. You never know what might happen when something freezes. These trees could all fall to pieces and destroy our power grid. So
I know for sure iguanas will be falling out of that tree. So that always happens, and you hear about it. So
right, yeah. Down in Miami, yeah.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
No.
But
all right, well, so if there's nothing else for St. Joe, I'm the Beebs, and for Keb. We'll catch you on the flippity flop.